Paul Crouse, born in 1910 in Fremont County, Iowa, began Crouse Cartage Company in Denison, Iowa in 1941. Guys, I'm Logan, the 64th Gear Jammer Skeele, and I'm back with another episode of Toy Talk. You're probably wondering why I mentioned Paul Crouse. Well, today I'm going to talk about one of the Trucking Pioneers series trucks that Toy Trucker and Contractor magazine and Toy Farmer magazine released several years ago. It's a 1/64 scale International 4070B Transtar II with 40-foot vintage dry van trailer for Crouse Cartage Company. This one is sold out, but two other trucks in the Trucking Pioneers series are still available, with a link in the description below. Also, there is a link below to grab a checklist of the entire Trucking Pioneers series to know which ones you are missing in your collection. Paul Crouse, he got his experience by driving and working in the warehouse as foreman, salesman, and general manager of several truck lines in the 1930s. With the knowledge and the experience that he had accumulated, Paul decided to go into business for himself. So, in 1941, he started a trucking company he named Crouse Cartage Company. He started his business in Denison, Iowa with 3 old trucks and 5 employees. At the time that he opened his doors, World War II had just begun. Materials, equipment, food, and fuel were all rationed. However, overcoming the problems, his fledgling trucking company survived. His first routes covered Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, Sioux City, Iowa, and about 60 small towns in between. The service that he offered was daily and overnight, which was one of the reasons for its success. Under ICC rules, Crouse Cartage Company increased their territory through the acquisitions of small Iowa carriers such as Schaefer Express of Dunlap, Grady Truck Line of Fort Dodge, and others. Paul Crouse's CCC truck line grew to become the largest intra-state truck line in Iowa. In the 1980s, with many carriers struggling in the new trucking landscape created by deregulation, Crouse was able to continue to grow because of their reputation for excellent service. Moving rapidly to 1982, Crouse Cartage Company had become the largest Iowa-based trucking company. Moving freight was not enough. Crouse Cartage assembled the greatest number of Allied Van Lines branches in the nation. Freight and furniture. No challenge was too big for Paul. Paul was a relentless worker for safety in the industry. He was one of the developers of the no passing sign on the left side of the highways. For over 30 years, his drivers participated in the National Truck Driving Competition. They won the team championship in Iowa for 24 years. Because of his hard work and concern for safety, larger and heavier trucks were allowed on the roads. That was a good thing because the freight hauling prices were kept low, benefiting the consumer. Besides running a trucking business, Paul served as chairman of the board of directors of the Iowa Motor Truck Association, VP of the American Truck Association, and he received numerous safety awards from Liberty Mutual Insurance for excellence in safety. With the passing of Paul Crouse in an automobile accident in 1987, his 4 sons took over the operation. The company continued to prosper and grow. In 1991, Crouse Cartage Company went public under the name ANUHCO. Later, the name was changed to Trans Financial. By 1996, all four Crouse brothers had left the company and a new management team was put in place. Unfortunately, the new management team failed, and Crouse Cartage closed despite attempts to stop rising losses. Trans Financial Holdings shut down its money-losing Crouse Cartage Company subsidiary on September 16, 2000, after giving up on efforts to stem a rising tide of red ink at the 59-year-old Midwest-based trucking company. Crouse Cartage served customers in 22 states and became the first major failure in the less-than-truckload segment of the industry since the demise of three large regional and interregional carriers in 1999. At the end, Crouse had 1,200 employees, 800 pieces of power equipment, and 1,800 trailers. The trucking industry was then, and is now, a volatile and competitive industry. Equipment cost, fuel cost, and personnel cost, coupled with mistakes made by management, led to many trucking companies becoming fallen flags, including Crouse Cartage Company. Ertl, Tonkin, DCP for Toy Trucker and Contractor, Toy Farmer magazines, and First Gear have all made diecast models of Crouse Cartage Company trucks. The Toy Trucker and Contractor, Toy Farmer magazines, had their model of a CCC diecast truck made by Diecast Promotions. Their model is an International 4070B Transtar II COE with 40-foot vintage dry van trailer that I'm going to review right now. And this, guys, is the International Harvester CO 4070B Transtar II Cab over engine tractor with 40-foot dry van trailer for Crouse Cartage Company. It's in 1/64 scale diecast, and it was made by Diecast Promotions for the Trucking Pioneers series that Toy Farmer, Toy Trucker, and Contractor magazine had several years ago. Now, I'm going to go on and start off with the trailer, and I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because I have talked about these trailers before. This is the all DCP tooling. It is not First Gear. This was long before DCP was bought out by First Gear. It's a quite heavy tooling, and it is a very, very nice. It's kind of based on an old Freehoff trailer. You can see it is an all-silver trailer, and it has CCC graphics on the side, and Service is Our Salesman, and they were very well known for their service. It rides on soft rubber tires that are mounted on 5-spoke Dayton wheels, and those wheels and spokes are painted in Crouse Cartage yellow. There's also a place for a placard right there on the side of the trailer. No other markings. Towards the front, on that corner, there is a trailer number. It is 48110. Keep going around to the front. There's another placard there, your airline and electric line hookups, and some other parts. Also, there's a Crouse Cartage Company logo right there on the front. Really nice logo CCC had. On the passenger side, right there on the corner, there's another trailer number that matches. And then we have the CCC logo, Service is Our Salesman, another placard, the same wheels. Underneath, you can see it has a spare tire and rim on the spare tire carrier. Also, you can see the rails where the axles would slide, but they don't really slide. There's air brake canisters on each axle, and then you can see the tread pattern of the tires on the rear tires. Landing gear is the screw down type, and then there is a date of manufacture up there right behind the kingpin. It is 1557, so this was made on the 155th day of 2007. Landing gear is the screw down type with square feet. round to the back of this trailer, it has yellow mud flaps, hard ABS plastic, and they are painted in Crouse Cartage yellow, and then they have the CCC logo on them. Great big Crouse Cartage logo on the back door, and another Service is Our Salesman banner painted on the door. The door handles, the cam locks, and the hinges are all just body silver paint. There's another placard, and then down lower you can see brake lights and turn signals. Brake lights red, amber for turn signals. Back then they would have been all red, but maybe Crouse had amber, not really sure. Now, the doors on this trailer do open pretty easily, and they show off a detailed interior that is that of a dry van. You can see there's the wall, wood floors, and then the ceiling ribs. Really, really nice trailer. Close up these doors, and I'll put the landing gear down so I can talk about the truck. This landing gear idea is great. I really love just being able to twist it, and it screws right down. So it looks right sitting off by its side or hitched up to a truck, either way. After all, we see trailers left parked at docks and on the sides of yards without tractors all the time, so it's nice that we can do that with these trailers. Now I'll set that aside. And pick up the tractor. Now, a Transtar 2 I have not talked about before on my channel. It has 5-spoke Daytons on the front and the rear with soft rubber tires. And the Transtar 2, this tooling here was the very first vintage truck that DCP made. And it got them to say, hey, older trucks sell too. It has chrome fuel tanks, chrome deck plate, chrome steps to get up on there, and chrome quarter fenders. Fifth wheel pivots a little bit, and it will accommodate any DCP or first gear trailer. The cab is a two-tone yellow with a black underside. The Transtar 2 logo is right there underneath the door. And you can see it says CCC, Crouse Cartage logo on the door, with other weights and important numbers like their ICC numbers. There's a tractor number there of 7903 right behind the grab bar. Those 4 grab bars there are wire rod that's bent and installed into the cab. They also tampoed the vent that goes into the sleeper area of the cab. Really cool. There's mirrors on both sides, and they're chrome plated. There's also some steps that lead up to the battery box right there so you can climb in. Cab overs, they really didn't think about how to get in them back in the day. Now we'll turn around to the front. It has that airfoil up on top, which is an additional piece. It just is got 2 pegs. They drill little holes in the cab and then they glue it on. Some Transtars had it and some didn't. You can see both mirrors and they're chrome plated. You can also see how those grab bars stick out from the cab on both sides there. The 2 front bars where you can grab and hang on so you can wash your window, they're also made the same way as the side grab bars. They're wire rod bent and installed. On each side there you can see the 7903, that's the truck number, and then right above the grill it says International. Headlights are individual jewel style pieces installed into the chrome plates. The driving lights down on the bumper are just chrome and no paint. Bumper is chrome plated, so is the grill. Now, the windows up top are hard ABS plastic, and then they got the gasket and the center bar tampoed in black. Inside the cab, you've got 2 seats, and you got a nice dashboard, steering wheel, and there is a little bed behind the seat, so there is a bunk up in there. Oh wait, one more thing on the front. You can see on both sides it has clear ABS plastic that's painted amber for the turn signals on each side of the cab. Really nice. And then they painted the vents on the cab black. Over on this side, the passenger side, you can see the air intake, the high above the roof intake, the way it slants down, and then it goes right down there into the
air cleaner. Then you can see the steps right there and there and the step there that are chrome plated pieces. There's also the fuel tank, quarter fenders. You can see the mud flap, the wheels, tires, the logos, the whole works on this side. Round to the back, they painted the back side of the mud flaps Crouse Cartage yellow and put the Crouse Cartage logo on them. There's also some DOT striping above the mud flaps, which really wouldn't have been there on this era of truck. But CCC did keep their trucks longer than a lot of people, so maybe they added it on later. There's also 2 brake lights right there. They are not individual jewel style. They are just molded into the mud flap bracket that goes all the way across and then tampoed in red. Tip him up a little. You can see the deck plate, and you can see the bracket that goes up to mount to the muffler and the exhaust pipe. Single stack and the single air cleaner. Very common on Transtars. Most of them really only had the 1 stack and the air cleaner there. There were some twin stacks, but most of them were just singles. Nice back of cab detail, and you can see the back of that airfoil on the roof. Also, you can see the curled up brake and electric lines and air lines right there, red, blue, and black. Really nice, and then they're mounted into a box. Underneath this truck, you can see the bottom of the engine detail, spring front suspension, positionable steering, not true steering, it's just positional, locks in place. You see the bottom of the air filter, there's your air tank underneath the battery box, air tanks, and then your 2 fuel tanks. Also on the rear axle, you can see the differentials there, drive shafts, and brake canisters. Up on top, the roof lights are molded into the cab, and then they, on this one, since the truck is yellow, they just left it yellow and tampoed the silver over the back to make them look like silver with yellow lenses. The air horns are chrome plated pieces added on, and you can see that airfoil. Really nice. Now, this cab does tilt, although it clicks in place and it is very stiff. Underneath the cab, you can see the underside of the cab detail, and then you can see the engine right there. An old Detroit V8 engine. Non-turbocharged. This is an old naturally aspirated engine. Might have a supercharger on it. Probably did. Jimmy 8s were real big on superchargers as opposed to turbos, so it probably had a super, but it is a non-turboed engine. Now, these guys, Transtars, had cool grills. If you look, 2-piece grill. Part of the grill was staged vertical, and part of the grill tilted with the cab. That was a cool thing that they came up with. And then there's the radiator and all the info underneath. Now let's close this cab up and then hitch him up so we can look at him all together again. To do that, I got to put the landing gear up a little, which is pretty easy to do on these trailers. Now, one thing about these trailers, they have the same cutout, although it's a little bit smaller on this trailer, so it's even weirder to hitch up to trucks. I wish they had fixed their first trailer and then fixed all the rest of them to go with it. But there we go. The trailer will hook up nicely to Advantage Diecast, top shelf replicas, DCP, and first gear trucks. Now let's turn him around. And that is the Diecast Promotions International CO 4070 Transtar II Cab Over with 40-foot dry van for Crouse Cartage Company. A 1/64 scale die-cast metal model that was made for Toy Trucker and Contractor and Toy Farmer magazines for their Trucking Pioneers series.
Toy Trucker and Contractor magazine, along with the Toy Farmer magazine, are the leading magazines for the die-cast model truck, construction, and farm toy industry. The magazines feature articles about past and present releases of die-cast models of trucks, fire trucks, construction equipment, and farm toys, plus other articles about the diecast industry. I put a link to both magazines' websites in the links down below. These two magazines are the heart of our industry, and it would be great of you if you would support them by subscribing. Also, don't forget there's a link to buy the remaining 2 trucks in the Trucking Pioneers series with the links down below, and go on and grab my free checklist on the complete Trucking Pioneers series with another link below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please go on and smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more great diecast product reviews and histories on the real machines. I'm Logan, the 64th Gear Jammer Skeele, and I'll be back soon with another episode of Toy Talk.